channel. I'm Rachel.
I'm Nikki and we're the Stitch Sisters.
And you'll see that today we're in Nikki's lounge.
Yes, look, Maisie's back.
Maisie's here.
Oh.
Yes.
It's been a while since we've been here, but we wanted to just do this as a more casual video. So this is our Q&A.
Yes.
And you guys have been sending us questions via email and Instagram and YouTube and everything.
Yes.
So we've got a big bowl of questions.
Giant bowl of questions.
And we're going to just go through them one at a time.
Yeah, we've just kind of given ourselves a time limit. We'll answer as many as we can, and any that we don't manage to answer, we will just do another one in a couple of months or something.
Yes.
And pick up where we left off.
Absolutely.
But hopefully, because we're picking them at random, hopefully it'll be nice and fair, and you can learn a little bit more about us.
Yes. Should we get started?
Yeah, let's get started.
Do you want to pick the first one?
Okay, right, hold on. This is the bowl. Look,
Woo.
look at all those questions. Okay, I'm going to pick
There's a lot in there.
this one. Okay, so this one is from Eakins, and she says, did you sew when your children were young? In fact, there's several questions in here. Did you sew when your children were young? Any tips on how to balance full-time work, 2 small children, housework, and squeeze in time to sew? I'm finding there is limited me time left in the day and sewing time is hard to find. My husband actually wants me to spend some time with him too. By the way, you bring joy to my early morning wake-ups. Oh, well, that is very, very happy. And I remember those early morning wake-ups so well. So, yes, we sewed when our children were young. I sewed mainly for my daughter, although I did used to make shorts and shirts and things for my son. But I'd also make other things for them. So, you know, dolls' clothes, like quilts, PJ, like I remember making sleeping bags for teddies and, you know, all sorts of crazy things. But so the funny thing is that my kids got it into their head then that I was some sort of sewing superwoman. So whatever they would have pop into their heads, they would just expect me. In fact, it wasn't even limited to sewing. So I used to decorate cakes as well. And my son would just come up with these ridiculous ideas, like, can you make me a 3D Godzilla? And I'd be like, I'm not really Superwoman.
This afternoon? No, probably not.
No, exactly. So yeah, I think in terms of how to manage it all, I have to confess, we get a lot more sewing done now than we ever did when our kids were young.
Yeah.
And I think it is hard to balance it all, especially if you're working full time. So we didn't actually, neither of us were working full time when our children were young.
No.
So I can't even imagine how tricky that must be, trying to juggle it all. But I would say if there's any advice that I can give you, it's to make sure you do prioritise yourself. So you say that, you know, you've got your job and your kids and your husband wants to spend some time with you, but they all need you to stay sane and they all need you to hold things together. And you can only do that if you take a bit of time for self-care. And that means making time for sewing, if that's the thing that makes you happy.
Yeah.
So it's so easy for us at mums to prioritise everyone else above ourselves and to push ourselves right to the bottom of the list. But if you think about it, if you're not looking after yourself, you're not doing as good a job as you could be at all those other areas as well.
Yeah.
So prioritise yourself. Make sure that you say to your husband, I need some me time for my sanity. Yeah. You need to take care of the kids. I need to sew.
Put a timer on it as well. I think I love the idea of when people are really busy that they give themselves half an hour a day to do sewing.
Yeah.
So even if that's just cutting out a pattern or getting something hemmed or something like that, you do small jobs and you do that a little bit every day. And then the big job of doing, you know, it's not taking you 5 hours to sit in your sewing room away from everyone.
Yeah.
It's just half an hour.
Yeah.
So that doesn't seem like an awful lot. And it means that you're spreading yourself out. They know that it's your priority to have your half an hour, but then you're spending time with them after that half an hour is up.
Yes, that's
a good little balance.
Yeah. And the other thing that we can recommend is just to manage your expectations. I know we all have heads full of all these wonderful things that we want to make, and there are never enough hours in the day. It doesn't matter how much physical time you have for us to create all of these things that we would love to. So just pick your projects carefully and just make sure that, you know, you pick things that are within your skill set, that aren't going to be too stressful, that are going to allow you to have that nice, calm, relaxing time when you're sewing, and something that you know you're going to get a lot of wear out of and a lot of joy from, because then your time is being put to the best possible use.
Absolutely.
That would be our advice.
Yes.
So thanks, Katiekins. If we take that long in every question, we're not going to get many done at all.
No,
but anyway.
that was a multiple question.
It was.
I'm going to
get the
pick a
next
skinny one now,
Okay.
because hopefully it might be a bit quicker.
Skinny ones. Skinny ones are short questions, are they?
This is a very short question. Oh, this is from Becca Poss. What's your favourite tea?
Ooh.
Mine is peppermint. I love peppermint tea, and I have a peppermint or a fruit tea, so I like cranberry and raspberry and things like that as well, and I have a peppermint or a fruit tea before I go to bed every night.
Yeah. For the most sort of everyday drinkable tea, I love ginger, just because I think it's got so many brilliant health benefits, and I just really find it refreshing and enjoyable. But my actual favourite tea is a smoky one, so I like either Lapsang Souchong or I like Russian Caravan tea, the ones that most people go, ugh. I love them, and I especially love them when it's with rum.
Of course, there would be
Smoky
alcohol
tea
involved there
and
as well.
rum is a great combo. Just neat spiced rum. I first tried it in a teapot, and it was called gunpowder or something like that.
yeah.
I think. So
Nice.
there you go, recommendation for you.
Lovely. Pick another one.
Okay, what's up next?
She picked another fat one.
No, it's just your cutting.
Oh, okay.
So this is from So Lele Bells, and she says, "What item of me-made clothing do you wear the most?" For me, it's got to be my coats. I think my coats and my jackets, because they often get worn a lot. My trench gets worn a lot when the weather is the right time. But actually, I would say, if I could only think about the last few months, my culottes that I made in the back of the culottes, I've been wearing them loads. In fact, you've got some on today.
They have been a real staple, I think.
They have, yeah.
Yeah, through summer. Yeah, they're really great.
For me, it's kind of like, if you don't fancy putting on a floaty dress or a pretty skirt or something like that, but you also don't want to just grab your jeans. They're that halfway house.
They are. They still feel smart, but they're comfortable. These ones are elasticated waist.
Yeah.
So they're like pin pajama bottoms on. They're great. I also wear my t-shirts a lot.
Yeah.
So my me-made tees.
Yeah.
And it's me-made May has made me realise I need more me-made tees. So I'm going to make more, just as basic pops of colour, so solid colours right the way through my wardrobe, because I wear them a lot. And I wear my my bomber jacket a lot as well. So I wear that because it's so comfortable and it's such a casual. I wear jeans a lot normally, so it's a really good one to kind of layer up and things like that.
I don't wear my bomber jacket enough, and I think that's just because of the colour choice that I made.
Right.
Whilst I loved it and I was trying to recreate something specific, but that sort of baby pink with the mint green is good for certain things, but those pastels don't tend to go with bold colours, and seeing as I have mainly bold colours in my wardrobe, it doesn't go with a lot. So I need to make another one in a plain colour or a bold colour that will go with all my other things.
With everything.
Yes.
Lovely. Okay, I'm going to pick one from the bottom.
Okay. Oh, they're all falling out. Put them back in.
It's all right. Right, so this one is from Katie Burbridge. So hello,
Hi,
Katie.
Katie.
If you were in the final of Project Runway, what would your final collection be based on, around, or inspired by? Now, I've got an answer to this because I got all the questions and I was filtering them and I was kind of cutting them out. So I'm going to give Rachel a couple of minutes to think about it. But I was thinking about this, and I was thinking that my inspiration would be the Game of Thrones.
Ooh.
So it would be Game of Thrones costumes. Because
Sansa's dress
in the final, and her armour in the final episode. I just think they knocked it out of the park.
Yeah,
the great
amazing.
The great thing about Project Runway is that you can take something like that as an inspiration point, and you can just make it go whichever way you want.
Yeah.
So that would be my inspiration. So it'd be lots of leaves and lots of trees, and it would be kind of like a mix, but probably a bit of fantasy as well, bit of Lord of the Rings thrown in there, a bit of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Lots of leather, lots of stuff.
Yeah. Nice.
So that would be mine. So I'm not sure if I've given you long enough to think about your answer.
Well, to be the first things that come to mind is if I went classic, then obviously it would have to be something Dior inspired from the 50s. That would be amazing. Corsets and big long gowns and that sort of thing. But I don't know. I think maybe that's not interesting enough. It's done. It's not original. So I think The other thing that I might use as my inspiration is kind of pop art. Just, those riot of colour.
Yes.
But also texture, and things that just would look as if they just stepped off of an Andy Warhol painting or something like that. I think that would be quite fun.
Oh yeah.
Just to take inspiration from the clean lines, the bright pops of colour, and the texture.
Yeah, and a lot of flowing. I'm seeing lots of waftage with that. Lots of big flowing dresses.
I'm seeing lots of structure rather than waftage, to be honest. I think lots of
See, it's not just about interpretation, isn't it? That's what's interesting.
There we go.
Go on, pick one, lady.
Okay, let's see. What's this one?
Oh, it's another big one.
I say I like a big one. This one is from Zlata Zaladova. Don't know if you said that right, sorry. Wardrobe reveal, please. Favourites, oldies but goodies, not loved at the moment. Strangers, not your style. Different eras, please. Do you know what, Zlata? I think that is such a good question, and there's so much going on with it that I think we might actually park this one to make a video specifically about that, because I think that's such a good, and we've had people asking for us to reveal more about our wardrobes.
Yes.
I think we take those categories of yours. Favourites, oldies but goodies, not loved at the moment, strangers, not your style, different eras, and we'll actually talk about them in more detail in another video, if that's okay.
Definitely.
So in which case, I get to pick another one.
Excellent. Honestly.
Greedy.
Greedy, yes you are.
Okay, Mrs. Makes, what alcoholic beverages do you both like? I know gin because of Christmas, which I also make and everyone loved. Do you drink wine? If so, what sort? Right, so short answer for me is all.
All the alcohol.
I do love a drink, and not just, I don't mean that in the sense of I just like getting drunk. I actually really do appreciate alcohol. I different alcohols, so I love spirits, but I love rums and I love whiskies and I love vodkas. You can take or leave purely because they all really taste the same to me, except for really, really good ones.
There's not a lot of flavour in
but I like the fact that you do get these subtle variations, a bit like wine in some of the more sort of varied spirits, and I like discovering new ones. In answer to your question about wine, I love wine, but I seem to be allergic to wine these days. Apparently it's not uncommon, it happens to lots of women, but a combination of being allergic to the sulfites and the tannins mean that I get everything from flushing and literal allergy symptoms to stomach cramps that keep me up all night.
Not nice.
Either way, it's not worth it. So I avoid wine these days. I'm the annoying one when people want to order a bottle of wine at a meal and I go, can I just have a gin tonic, please?
I drink wine, so I'm a red wine girl, so I like a Merlot or a Shiraz, something like that, something fruity, something with Australian usually.
Medium-bodied and fruity.
Yes, that's me all over. Top to toe. I don't particularly like white wine. I will drink something like a Sauvignon Blanc in the summer when it's really hot.
White wine has to be really cold.
It has to be really cold and it has to be really hot, and it hasn't got to be anywhere near a Chardonnay or I would just be bleh. I can't stand that oaky, like too sweet, like syrupy. I don't like dessert wines or anything like that. So I'm mostly red wine, and I'm looking forward to, in Crete, where we're going on holiday, they have chilled red wine.
Yes, and that's what we usually drink, and I'm really hoping that because it's very young wine, it won't have preservatives in it, and it hasn't developed enough to have a lot of tannins, so I'm really hoping that my allergies can allow me to drink the local Cretan wine, because it's one of my favourite things about going to Greece is the local wine. So fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I'm going to hit it hard the first day, see what happens, and then take it from there.
Yeah, we'll see Rachel day 4. It'll be fine. Right, shall I pick one? I'm going to go down the middle. Oh, I picked 2. No, one big long one. Okay, so Ginger Bowen. I'd love to hear you speak about balancing sewing with work and family life, and also lipsticks. I think we might need to do an entire video just on lipsticks. Maybe we should revisit that in What We Love This Week.
Yeah, maybe.
So there is, we did talk about lipsticks in one of our What We Loves. I will link to it here, or one of us will link to it here, because then we both talked about a couple of our favourites. So if you haven't seen that, we've kind of covered lipsticks there, but we will revisit that.
And we're always looking at new ones.
Yeah, I bought a new one yesterday.
Yeah.
So it's always, we love lipsticks. It's a bit, you know.
Yeah, I think some people have the same shade and they just wear it all the time, whereas I just think I let my outfit decide.
Yeah.
There are certain shades that really don't suit me, and so I tend to avoid nudes just because I feel like I need a pop of colour, or I'm so used to seeing myself with a pop of colour that I can't not
see it
anymore.
otherwise. Yeah.
I always feel a bit washed out if I don't have. If I go nude, I have to have a dark outline.
Okay.
So more of an ombre nude rather than a...
See, I will go nude, and I'd like to go nude when I'm just having an ordinary day.
Yeah.
So if I've got my makeup on, I quite like just a plain shiny gloss. But sometimes I just put lip salve on and use it. If I'm having a busy day, I'm just not putting anything on.
Yeah.
But so then when I put the colour on, it feels like I'm fully done, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I do that too, but what I tend to do is I put the clear lip gloss on, and then I get a lipstick, whatever bright colour I would normally wear, and I just dab it on, and then I rub it in with my finger.
Okay.
And it just gives it the tiniest little hint of colour.
Yeah.
But not enough
Still
looks natural. Yeah.
And balancing sewing with work and family, I think we covered that.
Well, we did, but I mean, we were talking more about when our kids were younger, I suppose, and it is a little bit different now. So we're lucky in that we have very understanding partners, and our children are now at an age where they are largely independent. They don't want to spend as much time with us, so we do suddenly have more time than we ever used to, which has its benefits, but we miss them and we wish they wanted to spend more time with us.
We do a lot of ferrying around and stuff like that.
But I mean, what we find is that we have to have a schedule.
Yes.
We have to sit down each week together and to work out what is important that week and who's going to do what. And what we've learned over time is that we don't both need to be doing the same thing. It's much more productive if we actually share out the things that need to be done.
And also we because we've been working together for must be 5 years now. We were discussing yesterday that a while ago we realised the fact that, you know, we each have skills and we each have things which we're good at, and it doesn't mean that because one person's good at that, it doesn't mean that the other person has to try and be as good at that as the other person. So we I think we have gotten to a good balancing point where we do realise the benefits of each other and the good things each other can do, and we
found what works, and we just let it happen.
We're
naturally.
also very honest with each other as well, and if
too honest sometimes.
If
I'm brutally honest,
and I'm very sensitive. That's true. But if we feel that we need some time, and sometimes it does get to a point because we tend to work term to term, so we tend to have a little bit of time off when the kids are off and things like that as well. So if things have just been chock-a-block and busy for like 4, 5, 6 weeks, and we haven't really had any time to breathe, we will say, like, let's have an actual day off. Let's not do anything work related on Friday and do things like that. And I think because we work for ourselves, we have the benefit of being able to do that and to fit that into our schedule.
And I think we have to be careful because most of the time we spend together is work related. But first and foremost, we're friends. So we have to make time for that. And just like, you know, with your relationship, you have to make time to actually enjoy each other's company and not just be talking about bills and kids and whatever else. And we have to do the same. We have to make sure we give ourselves some time to have fun together and just to remind ourselves of what it is that we love about each other. And so, we did that yesterday.
We did.
Had a nice day in Bath.
It can be hard though because we do always talk about work.
It's hard, but
you have
usually
to try
we're
and not
excited about something. So it's because I'm, as we've already said, I'm brutally honest. So if you're talking about work and I'm not in that headspace, then I'll just tell you and say I don't want to talk about work.
You did have to say that to me on Christmas Eve once.
Christmas Day,
sorry. But then my head is just in it all the time. Sometimes I talk to Rachel like I'm downloading, so I'm downloading my head to her, and I feel much better once I've said it.
And to be fair, it wasn't like a job or anything. She literally just said, "Oh, I had the best idea," and I just had to say to her, "Nikki, it's Christmas Day."
But that, you know, we spend that much time together. It's very the lines get blurred very easily.
Yes,
so.
but as far as advice that we can give other people. the most important thing I think I found in terms of work-life balance is to recognise that you're not Superwoman, that you don't have to do everything to the best of your ability.
No.
You have to decide, you're one person, and you have to decide where your energy is best spent, and you have to accept that where that whatever isn't your energy isn't being spent on, you just have to let it go.
Yeah.
You can't do everything perfectly all the time.
No, and ask for help.
Yeah, exactly. And manage manage your family's expectations, manage your expectations, make sure that, you know, when I've got a really busy week, I'll make sure that my husband and the kids know that I've got a very busy week, and they shouldn't expect freshly cooked meals every day, and that all the washing is going to be done.
Dry cleaning to be picked up, or anything like that.
Everything else is going to have to have to slide, because I need to focus on other stuff. And I think as long as you make sure you communicate and everybody knows what to expect,
Absolutely.
and it's the same with each other. So if you've got a lot going on personally, or if I have, then we make sure we let each other know we're not going to be 100% on it.
Yeah,
because
I might not be around
and
on Thursday because I've got 9 things to do for the rest of the family. And you do have days like that. So even though we work for ourselves, there are days where you've got to do hospital appointments, and you've got to go to the doctors, and the kids need to go to the dentist, and all of these things need to be done. And so we have to have room to do that. And you would if you were employed. Yeah, you would have to take a day off to sort that kind of thing out. And I think that's what's something that's happened to us recently, is we've realised just because we work for ourselves, we still have to schedule in time away from the work, and it's hard to do that when you're at home and you work with your best friend who lives 1 yard from your house, because it's work all the time and you're surrounded by it. So but we're trying.
We're still figuring it out, to be honest. It changes all the time.
It does, week to week.
Right, next
Pick another
question. Oh, let's see what we've got here. This one is from N.A. Haystack, and this one made us laugh when it came through. What would happen if you did wife swap between your two families? Now, we're going to assume that question is purely in terms of, you know, like the TV show.
As a family-based
thing, yes. Not keys in a bowl.
No, we're not doing that.
No. I think it would end up being horrendous. Yeah. And the reason for that is Nikki's husband Tim is quite similar to me. Quite opinionated. Yeah. Has very little patience. I think we would kill each other. Yeah, because the thing is, he makes throwaway comments that you're so used to that you would just not rise to, dismiss out of hand. I would bite every single time and bite his head off, like clean off. Yeah. And I think I'm probably a bit too feisty for him. I think he would feel like he had to wrangle me, and it wouldn't work.
It wouldn't work. No. And Damien's quite chilled, I think. Yeah. With how chilled he is, I think it would.
He's very chilled, and I think that he's too chilled.
Too chilled for me. Yeah.
I think
it would drive me mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also when I've there have been a couple of occasions when Rachel's children have been here, and when I've had to raise my voice to them in my Scottish voice, the look of terror on their faces. Yeah. Just because there's someone, and I wasn't properly shouting, I was just going, kids, and they're just like, oh my God. Like, so I think that would take some getting used to.
Yeah, I mean, we're not very shouty in our house. It doesn't mean to say that the kids don't get told off. Yeah. But, you know, usually there's a lot of reasoning that happens. Yeah. Yeah. And it hasn't always been that way. I used to lose my temper a lot more when they were a lot younger, but now they've got older, everything's a debate. Yes. And I tend to do it in a way that doesn't involve me shouting. I'm not saying that as a judgment on you or anybody else. No. Everybody's very different in the way they and I'm probably more relaxed as a parent, I think, and that's, you know, some people would consider too relaxed. So I'm not saying it's necessarily a good thing. I'm not. I pick my battles and just think, well, I'll let that one go. Yeah. And it's just I think we're very different in terms of our dynamic as a wife. And a mother. Yeah. And I think both our husbands and our kids would not have a clue what was going on.
But then I think sometimes you choose your partner because they compliment you, or it's very not very often that you're exactly the same.
Yeah.
You tend to be the opposite end of the spectrum.
They balance you, yeah.
So I look after my husband, and that's something that I've always done. Because I am a giver. I look after people.
Yes.
And that's something that gives me joy. Now, he's used to that, and I think that's probably what he was looking for as well. He wanted to be looked after when we first met each other. And my kids are very much like that as well, because I've always like looked after them like more than any other
and it's a big part of who you are is looking after
spoiling
everybody.
them,
Exactly,
doing things for them and stuff.
Although whereas I'm quite high maintenance, and I expect things to be done for me a lot of the time.
So what we're saying is that we work very well in the families we're in.
Yes, exactly.
And our families got on really well together, but I should never move into your house.
No, I can just imagine Tim coming home and saying, "What's for tea?" and me going, "Whatever you want to make." There's the car, shops are down the road, sort yourself out. You'd be like, what's going on here?
It'd be alright for a couple of days, and then it would go, oh, that's not changing then. What's going on? He would roll with it for a couple of days, and then after about 5 days, he'd be going around, no, I'm with that now. Anyway, let's get another one, shall we?